Welcome back into Afternoon Drive. Thanks for staying with us here on WDAF Plus. Bria Love sticking with you now, and I do have a special guest coming in. I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware that we have a partnership with Meyer Music called Band of Angels. It's this great organization, and here to talk about it, as we're getting back to this back-to-school season, perfect timing, here to talk about it is Destiny White-Dixon. She is a former recipient for Band of Angels, and now she's working with the organization. Destiny, thanks so much for coming in here and joining us and talking a little bit about Band of Angels. So for somebody who has never heard of it before, how would you describe it?
Well, Band of Angels is a 501c3, and we were started by Meyer Music and Fox 4. Just simple terms, we take in donated instruments from the community, and then we refurbish them and give them to students who may have a financial barrier to getting them. A lot of students come into Meyer Music and they're like, so excited to start. And, it can be really devastating to see a family struggle or kind of grapple with the cost of a rental. So just to be able to have the option to give a kids free instruments because of our community has been a big game changer for us.
Absolutely, and those instruments are not cheap. I mean, I can even think back to when which I played the violin a very long time ago, but they're just so pricey. And yeah, these are ones that people can own, right? These are gifted to them, and they get to keep them, right?
Yeah, so as long as a student is enrolled in a music program, even if it doesn't have to necessarily be in school, but as long as they're getting some kind of instruction, they get to keep the instrument, and they can keep it if they're outside of high school, if they want to, participate in the community. So we always encourage our kids to keep playing music.
Absolutely, and I think of the first one when I started working at Fox 4 that I personally did a story on was a young boy. He was going off to an HBCU, and he got, I think, what did he
Chris
got?
Hurd.
Maybe. I can't remember.
He got a trumpet?
Yes, it's a trumpet. And I was like, this is
Yes.
amazing. And I mean, I feel like also when we get to do these stories and tell all these experiences, it gives kids an idea of things they can do. Because
Yes.
even I feel like growing up, me living on the Missouri side, it was like everybody went to Mizzou and that was it. Like you go to Mizzou, that's your school. And I was like, I never thought like you could go be in marching band at an HBCU. That's so cool. And I love that Meyer and Fox 4 were able to help him do that. But you are also a recipient, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about what it was like for you?
Yeah, so me and Chris, we kind of have a similar story. Really, I think we should highlight the relationships that we build with our students because the program doesn't really work if we don't build connections. And so as a recipient, I was able to build a relationship with Mike Meyer, who is the owner of the Overland Park store and also like a co-owner. So all of his siblings are running the store now, or running the stores we have. And so that relationship was so integral to me being the person I am today and being able to be that mentor to our students. And so I got my first trumpet when I was in 6th grade, and my parents were going through a pretty rough divorce. It was a lot for me emotionally, and I just really wanted to have an outlet. Really, I wanted to get out of the house because it wasn't the most pleasant place for me. So when I got my first trumpet, it was an old Bundy, kind of beat up, but I was like, I'm going to make the most out of this. And then so as I continued to progress, my 8th grade year and then my junior year, I got an intermediate trumpet, and then I got an advanced trumpet, and then I had a full ride scholarship to also go to a HBCU, much like Chris. And so that covered my entire tuition. And so, music can be that pathway. It can open up a door for you that other people don't even realize. And a lot of people don't know there are thousands, maybe millions of dollars that are going unclaimed because students are not participating in music in college. So, yeah, music is so important to me, and being a part of this organization as a former recipient gives me a unique perspective to be able to serve our kids better.
Yeah. So have you been on the opposite end? Have you been somebody who's been able to present an instrument?
Yes.
Has there been an experience about that that's really stuck with you at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids who remind me of myself, how awkward I was, how,
It's
just
just
like,
that age, right?
yeah, yeah, but like having that drive to want to be great. So that really that touches my heart a lot. And I mean, sometimes I cry because I'm like, I mean, I never thought that I would be a good enough teacher or even a good enough, program coordinator to really serve the kids. But now that I see, um, the, kind of the, what's the word? I'm looking for the right
Like
word.
the benefit of
The
it.
benefit
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, basically, I'm like, wow, like I never knew how much this could change one person's life.
Right. I know. And there's no need to have any kind of barrier to something like that, right?
Mhm.
All kids, despite your background or where you grew up from or whatever, should have access to this. And I feel like that's what Band of Angels is trying to do. So there's an instrument drive. Can you
Mhm.
tell us what that is?
So the instrument drive is basically we make a call for everybody who has instruments in their closet, and we know you got them. We ask for you to bring them to any of our 3 Meyer Music locations. So we have one in Overland Park, we have one in North Kansas City, and one in Blue Springs, which is our OG store. So we ask that you bring out trumpets, trombones, violins, basses. We do not take organs, pianos, or drum sets because we don't have the space, and they're not always in the best condition for us to be able to, um, use them. But if we are able to use any of the trumpets, trombones, saxophones, bass, violin, we'll give that to a student after they apply. And then we also have our Art That Blows event, which is our summer fundraiser. And what we do with that is we turn in art pieces from unplayable instruments. So nothing goes in the trash, really. All of it's used directly to benefit the kids.
So if it's just sitting in the back of your closet and nobody's doing anything with it, you're not playing anymore, you don't know anybody going to play with it, you can definitely donate it to something like this and know that it's going to use, because those Art That Blows sculptures, Destiny, I am blown away every single year.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they are so amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people put a lot of work into them. And I think an important part to note about the instrument drive is that there's so many donors who have relationships with the instrument, whether it was their first instrument, whether they worked their first job to save up for it, or it was a loved one that they just recently lost. So it's just so important for us to breathe new life into those instruments instead of just letting them go in the trash or in a landfill where nothing can be made.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if somebody's wanting to donate and get involved in the drive, when can they do that and where should they go?
Well, we are taking instruments year round. So any day that Meyer Music is open, you can bring those instruments in. But specifically this week, we're making a big push for the school year. So if you can stop by any of our locations on Friday or Saturday, that would totally be okay, but you can come by anytime and we'll be happy to take those.
Good deal. And I know you mentioned some things that you couldn't take, but is there any that are too far gone that you won't take? Like
No.
anything like that? Okay, good. Because they can be recycled, right?
They can be recycled,
All right,
yes.
So if you're thinking about you have one, then there's no barrier. Get yourself down to one of the Meyer Music locations and donate a nice instrument for charity. All right, Destiny, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about it and supporting such an awesome organization. I think a lot of us feel really passionately about it, at least here at Fox 4 and the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on Afternoon Drive. That's all the time that we have today, but we are here Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock, bringing you all types of news, weather, sports, special guests like Destiny. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. Again, that's at 3 o'clock. See you.